Today we're going to create this fun and easy greeting card animation. We are going to be using the Procreate app for this. Even if you have not done animation in Procreate before, no worries. I will talk you through every step, and this is a pretty easy animation. I am going to be doing a thank you card for this tutorial, but you can do any kind of card that you would like because you're going to be personalizing the message. You're also going to be personalizing the photo behind. This photo is from Unsplash, which is a source for beautiful free photos to use online. So that's what I am using. You could also use your own personal photos of anything that you'd like for the background. For this, we have a little box that is semi-transparent over there. So you could use a picture like this that takes up the whole screen, and then the photo will just be kind of peeking behind this semi-transparent text box. I'm Kelley Brentberg. I'm a member of the Pigeon Letters Design Team. I'm a digital artist. I love Procreate. I blog on the Pigeon Letters, and I also teach on Skillshare. My Skillshare classes are also focused around Procreate, so if you'd like to check me out there, please do. Let's get started. We're going to go to Unsplash and find a photo that we'd like to use. I have it up here, and what I've done is I have saved some options to make it easy for you. You can search up here in the box for any kind of thing that you would like background or confetti or whatever you'd like. But I have also, under my name, Kelley Brentberg, I have created a gallery of photos that you could use for your animation. If you wanted to use one of these, feel free. Otherwise, use any kind of photo that you would like. This is the one that spoke to me right away. These beautiful flowers. Sometimes it tells you a little bit about it, like this is from Milton, Canada. Anyway, to download it, we would just tap download, and it asks you if you want to download, and I do indeed want to. And then you can see if you tap this arrow up here that it did download successfully. So let's get that into Procreate. And I am going to create a new canvas. I'm going to hit the plus sign here, and I'm going to tap this little folder there. I'm going to change it to inches, and I am just going to do a 4 by 4 square. Again, not 40. Again, you can do any size you'd like, but I'm going to do a 4 by 4 square with 300 DPI. So let's tap Create, and we have our new canvas, and we're going to import our photo. So to do that, I'm going to go to Wrench, Add, and Insert a File. And here is our file. It doesn't fit exactly, but no worries, we can stretch it out here. I'm on uniform, so that will stretch it out without changing the shape of it. If it was, for example, on freeform, then you can do all sorts of like fun house tricks, which, you know, sometimes are fun or helpful, but for this, I'm just going to stick with uniform and stretch it out so it fills the page here. So our flowers are done, and now we're going to add that box that we're going to put the text on top of. And for the color palette, I'm just going to grab colors from here, and you can also do the same. I like this light pink, so I'm going to grab it here, and I am going to draw a box. I am using the Pigeon Letters brush lettering pack. I am using the Mono Pigeon, and I'm just going to draw a box, and Procreate will help us draw a perfect square, and I'll show you how that goes. If you just draw a rough square like that, it will say that I created a quadrilateral, but I can edit the shape and tap square. And so now we have a perfect square, and now I'm going to color drop that. Whoops, I had a leak. Here's my leak. So let's back up and let's do this again. So what happened before is I didn't connect the ends, so there was like a little place where the color leaked out. So edit shape, square, and color fill. There we go. And I am going to tap on this arrow so the box is selected. I'm going to center it. And Procreate will tell us when something is centered with these gold lines. So it's centered that way. I don't know why it doesn't want to like show me that it's centered. It's showing that it's centered this way, but not this way. Like I want square. That's really weird. I'll just take this blue line. So we had a gold line and a blue line. So that's roughly centered. And what we're also going to do, or I'm going to do, is I'm going to bring the opacity down so the flowers can kind of peek below here. So you can get an idea of the flowers below there. So I'm tapping on the layer with the box and I'm bringing the opacity down to, you can play with it here. So this is 57%. For this one, I'm going to want to do right around 90%. This is 88. I think that looks pretty good. 89, that's fine. We just want to be able to get a hint of the flowers below, but also not obscure the text that we're going to be adding. So this is good. I am going to add a new layer. Now we're going to add the words, and I am going to be using a font from the Pigeon Letters called Bulbul. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I should ask Peggy sometime. But you can use any font you'd like. You can use that font. You can use your own hand lettering. And I'm going to choose a dark color from here to keep it harmonious. I'm going to do like a dark green. I'm going to move this color thing around until I find a color I like. That looks good, and it's changed the color up here. So now I'm going to go to Wrench, Add Text, and I'm going to tap on these two A's here to change the font. Procreate always defaults to this Ina font, but I want Bulbul. So you'll have a variety of fonts here too. You probably won't have all the fonts that I have because I've downloaded a lot of fonts, but Procreate does come with fonts. So you can use any font that you would like. Here is my Bulbul one I like. There is a heavy version or a light version. For this, I'm going to use heavy. And I'm going to make the size a little bit bigger, and we can play with that. So I just bumped it up to about 48. And now I'm going to type my message, which again, I'm going to choose thank you. And you can do that or anything else. I can also make it bigger like that. And it's kind of centered. There's some space here that I don't love between the letters, so I'll show you how to fix that. I'm going to tap on this text layer, hit Edit Text, and then I'm going to bring up those two A's again, and I'm going to adjust the leading here. So the leading, if you want to see how that goes, you can increase the leading and that increases the space between the words, or you can decrease the leading and it decreases the space between the words. And I think it looks pretty good at that. At this one, I'm at a -20 for the leading. Another thing that you can do with text is adjust the tracking, which is the space between the letters themselves. So you can increase the tracking, so like that's really far apart at 50, or decrease the tracking so the letters are closer together, so you can get different effects. I'm going to increase it just 1.8%. And I am going to center this again, make sure it's centered. I think that looks good. What I often do is I'll make something bigger and smaller to see, it just helps you see a different perspective, like walking away from something versus being up close. Maybe I want this box to be just a tiny bit smaller. And again, I'm on uniform and I've centered it. And I can also, I think I'm going to make it just a tiny bit brighter. So I'm on this box layer. I'm going to choose Magic Wand, Hue, Saturation, and Brightness. And here you could turn the brightness way up. I don't like it that bright, or way down. Of course, I don't want that. It starts at 50 and I'm just going to bump it up to like 53%. I think that looks good. Once we have everything exactly how we would like it to be, let's group our layers together to prep for the animation. So here we have just 3 layers. We have the photo, the box, and the text. So I'm going to swipe on the bottom 2 layers and I'm going to hit group and I'm going to label that background. I wouldn't need to do this so much if I wasn't doing an animation, but this will help us. So we are ready to start the animation. And whenever I do an animation, I will always copy the original piece by swiping left and hitting duplicate. And then I will do an animated version, and I'll often like label this one animation. So when I come back to it later, it's clear what I'm doing. So the next thing we're going to do is create the animation. And believe it or not, this is going to go really quick and we are going to be done soon. So let's go to Wrench. Let's go to Canvas, and we're going to toggle Animation Assist on. And once that happens, we get this new toolbar at the bottom. And down here, these are called frames, and frames correspond exactly with the layers that you're probably familiar with. So here we have one group of layers and then a layer. And down here we have one group and then another layer. And we are going to make the background layer, we're going to toggle that on. So those things will hold steady in the background while our words are moving. And what we're going to be doing to get the handwriting effect is we're just going to be erasing one character at a time. So let's do that. First, I'm going to duplicate this thank you. So right now it is a text layer, and this is what it looks like. I'm going to tap on the top layer, and then I'm going to rasterize it. And I'll show you how that looks different if we tap rasterize. So here you can see the difference. The rasterized version is not editable. I can't edit it like text. I can't go on there like here and hit edit text and change the exclamation point or whatever. I can't do any of that. It's just kind of pixels on a page. And that's what we need to do to erase the letters. So whenever I have text and I rasterize it, I always keep an unrasterized version in the background. So here is my thank you unrasterized in the background, and I turn that off. And now what we're going to do is start animating. I am going to duplicate this thank you. I'm going to navigate to the bottom layer. I'm going to grab an eraser, and for this I'm using Mono Pigeon, and that's all from the Pigeon Letters brush lettering pack. And I'm going to be erasing away one character at a time. And once you erase that bottom exclamation point, you can see like the ghost, the neon green ghost of the exclamation point. And that is because something Procreate does called onion skinning. Onion skin frames, I just want that to be 1, and onion skin opacity, I'll do around 50%. So right now we have our background and our 2 layers. I'm going to duplicate the bottom layer, navigate to the new bottom layer, grab my eraser, and erase the U. And we are going to keep going exactly in that fashion. So once I erase something, then you can see the neon green ghost of it. I'm going to go to this Y. Just make sure everything's erased there. So now we have just thank. Duplicate that, erase the K, and keep going exactly like that. So now we have just the T, and we can duplicate that layer and then hit clear. So it starts out with a blank screen. Our animation is almost done, but we're going to tweak a few more things. But let's test our animation. That looks pretty good. It goes really fast. So what we're going to do is make it pause on the last frame. So again here, the frames correspond exactly to the layers. This is the last frame and it's the top layer. So whenever I'm choosing a layer, it also is choosing the frame. So we are on this last layer, and I'm going to add a hold duration of, let's say, 12. When you add a hold duration, you get these little grayed out ghosts of the frame. So let's see how that looks. We're going to hit play. I think that looks pretty good. Let's just go back to these animation settings, and I'll talk you through just a couple things here. So this is a loop animation. It's the most common animation. The next one is ping pong. And ping pong goes through the animation and then backwards again. And you'll see that here. So that's not the effect we want here. It would be like writing it and then kind of erasing it. So this is definitely a loop animation. We could also do a one shot, which isn't super fun. It's just a one and done. So if we go to the beginning here and hit play, then it's just done. So we are going to go back to loop. We have 8 frames per second, and we have a hold on the last frame of 12 frames. So let's hit play one more time and see how that looks. I think that looks good, and we are going to go ahead and export it. So I'm going to go to Wrench, Share, Share as Animated GIF. And here you could also play with the frames per second here as well. I still like the 8, so that's good. So I'm just going to hit Export, and it's going to go to my camera roll, and I'm going to hit Save Image. And so then it will be right in your camera roll, and you can share that with your friends or family. You can text it to them, email it, whatever. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. If you'd like more, find more of my tutorials on the pigeon letters or on Skillshare. If you'd like to see more, follow me on Instagram, Kelley Bren Burke. I hope to see you soon.